You wish it again for Christmas, don't you?
Hey, right now, Bill Bryan will teach you how to fly.
I wished I knew. I'd take her for a spin.
I think he may even be doing some of that. He just lives down the road from me
Right.
and
I don't want to do no part of it. I just want to fly the helicopter.
Why don't you just buy you a drone?
Dr. Littrell, how hard is that going to be for me to take a quick lesson on this?
I don't know. I can't fly a helicopter. I'm sorry. It's a totally different animal on an airplane.
Yeah.
They always say it's the landing is the hard part, Tracy.
Yeah.
You can always slow down.
I believe our airplane's the same way, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Buy you one of them drones, man.
Well, they got some of them now. It's pretty dang sporty.
Yeah.
Mr. Cox over at Two-Way, he just said, he said, anybody can fly one. He said, you got to get it down some way.
Landing is the worst part.
I call this meeting of the Carroll County Public Service Authority to order. And if all will rise, Tracy, if you don't mind, will you lead us in the invocation
Sure
and
will.
pledge, please?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, Lord. Please be with each and every one of us as we conduct business today, Lord, for the citizens of this county. And I ask that you'll put a special blessing and hand over the people that suffered from the storms this weekend in Kentucky, Lord. And we know that you are understanding and compassionate and have your hand all over it, Lord. In Jesus' precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's good to see everyone here this evening, and thank you all for being out, coming out and attending. First thing on the agenda is the citizens' time, and since there's nobody in here, I guess there's nobody signed up for citizens' time. Next items are consent agenda, sections A, B, and C, and I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
Also move.
Have a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I start the voting with you, Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Dr. Littrell,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Jessup.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is new business, and I'll turn that over to you, Mr.
I wanted to add this onto the agenda for today to discuss. As many of you are aware, we have, I think, 4 full-time and 3 part-time. And to be honest with you, we're just able to keep up. Okay, we're not moving forward. We're relying on contracted work. When we have an incident or a break, we still have to send our people out, but we just don't have the manpower to get ahead. And what you do is you see that in long-term maintenance. Guys care, they work hard. So trying to look at ways we can add an employee. And before we added an existing position, I want to come to the board and propose a new position. I feel like with this upcoming year, it shouldn't be a problem. We could actually hire one now because we haven't, that will match inside our existing budget. But that brings up next year. Okay, as you get into next year, you're going to have to budget this. Right now, we have, I think, about 30 no, I'm sorry, the installation of the meters. I think we have about 30 right now. So with that and the savings that we'd have by putting in the meters on Blueberry, we're looking at being able to afford another position. And what this will do is it give us some relief on weekends. All of our employees now are forced to work weekends. And the times that they don't, we don't have the manpower to go out and fix small leaks. We're seeing leaks lasting longer. We're not able to go change out meters. We're still having to read a few industrial meters, which we're trying to get put in so that we can drive-by read them also. So what I'm proposing is adding an existing full-time position to our staff in order to move forward. It's my understanding that years ago, several years ago, that we had, I think Mr. Moore had mentioned 11 employees,
Yep.
full-time employees at one time, doing what we're doing now with the 4. So I think that we'll be able to put it in this year and create the revenue this upcoming year to keep that position.
Are they gonna have to be certified or just a laborer, or what are you asking?
Labor.
Labor, what
Well,
are you asking for?
What the only thing is, and this brings up another subject, but we have, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but we hire a water technician, I think is what it's called, and then there's a technician 1. To be honest with you, we pay so low, I don't know if you want to find the low scale on this. I mean, I think it's 25,000 a year or something, with which is tough to find a good employee. You know, we don't hire. I hate to say it, when the less employees you have, the better employees you better have. Okay, that's just the way you have to put it. You got to hire somebody that's willing to learn and to train, because you want to be able to send someone out, 2 people out, and be able to do the work. Okay. A lot of times in the past, when I sent somebody out for a water leak, had a minimum of 3, possibly 4. We'd have to pull all our full-time employees off right now in order to do anything. You know, so you're passing off some of the things that, you have the water leak, it's on the side of the road. Okay, you need to have somebody out there that's flagging for it, but you also need somebody in the ground and somebody to dig a hole. Okay, and anything else that's going on during your day. So we don't have the staff without adding a person to try to do some of these little things. So I'm proposing we add an additional employee, start advertising for it, with a little bit of flexibility depending on the position that we're going to hire. I think right now we have 2 people that can dig a hole. That's tough. And one of them, that's not his daily job. I mean, he's certified. He looks over the water side most of the time. Be honest with you, it's tough. You need somebody, and it's not as easy as, when you dig a hole. It's not just taking somebody standing on the side, taking an excavator, reaching in and grabbing something. Okay, you're reaching in and you're feeling for it while you've got somebody in the ground poking for it. And it's an art watching these guys. Okay, I mean, I can go out and take an excavator and I can dig a good sized hole as long as there ain't nothing in it. But when you start looking around or you're trying to find a line, there's an art to it. So, and we're hoping we can expand that skill onto some of our guys. So,
Are you needing a motion for this? And
I would recommend or ask for a motion to allow us to hire 1 more employee as a full-time position.
At what scale?
You're gonna have to pay more minimum wage, or you ain't gonna
Yeah.
get nobody.
I mean, you said the one was 25. What's the one above that one? Because you're not going to get an operator for 25,000, are you?
Hang on just a second, I should be able to tell you.
How many employees do we have of the 4 full-time guys that's making under 30,000?
did you say 2?
Under 30,000.
That's been with us for a while?
How long do you call a while? Years.
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 We need to do something about them too,
Yes, we do.
I would think.
or you ain't gonna keep them. 'Cause their jobs out there everywhere right now. That pays.
Well, that $25,000 is $12 an hour, and they pay more of that work down here.
When you go to Walmart, you make 25.
Yeah,
If you want
what
to,
I'm saying, it's more. I mean, you walk down here, it's $13 an hour.
My biggest thing is just that if they've been here a while, they're dedicated, and, we should do our best to try to retain them.
I tell you, not the cleanest job in town either.
No, it's not it's a thankless job, to be honest, man, a lot of it is.
I used to say that it's one of the most important jobs because the first phone call you get when a person wakes up and they don't have any water, you're gonna get a phone call. I'm looking for that information off the. I had Michelle pull that information for me.
That's fine, you can advertise it in the next meeting, we could look at it, yeah.
I think maybe at the next meeting, we need to have maybe work up something where it's gonna give us to get our employees up to a suitable level, what the net increase and the net would be on our budget.
We need to set a scale up, so we need.
Well, we have within the county a book that was published a while back, and to be honest with you, you can't follow it. I mean, there's a step raise to it, and the way it works is if you're on step 11 and you move to step 12, it's 5%, and every step horizontally is 2%. So if you were to go from, you go from a laborer's with 10 years of experience and you move up 2 spots, you pretty much make $500 more than you did to become a supervisor. It doesn't work.
No.
Okay, so the code, the book, according to a personnel policy, gives me the authority to adjust it some. And to be honest with you, I adjust it and ask the board when I hire somebody and tell them that I'm going to have to pay. It's very difficult to follow that. If you go strictly by the book, I can't hire anybody.
Well, it's just like Gary said, the way that it's getting on the job market now, these guys can go out and find a job easily somewhere else making more money.
$15 an hour anywhere you go.
Yeah. So we need to
If you
work.
don't believe it, drive down the street and
Yeah.
Pigeon Forge to Gatlinburg or somewhere. It's on the sign.
I'll entertain a motion that we give Mike the approval to start advertising for a full-time position.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. Do I have any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll start the voting with you, Mr. Jessup.
Yes,
Mr. McCraw,
Yes.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Dr. Littrell,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
$15 an hour, that's 31,000.
31,000, yeah.
So you're gonna have to go with 30,000.
Because we did.
and we're gonna come back the next meeting and work on the pay.
I think that's the
Do this.
plan.
Yeah, I
We
think
need to
that's
do that
the
next
plan.
meeting, I think.
Okay, and I'll bring something back to this. We have, we did change a couple of classifications. We have 2 people that are, one an office worker and one that's fairly new that is under that limit. So, but we'll I'll email out a list of the salaries so you have an opportunity to look
That'd be
at it.
great. I'd really appreciate it. You have any more new business, or anybody else have any more new business? You have any updates from any of the projects at all that we need to discuss, or? Because updates and old business kind of go hand in hand, I think, so.
Them meters was gonna put in where I think it's in Dr. Tom's area.
Over on Blueberry?
Blueberry.
What's happened there?
Okay, I was breaking down some of the cost on it. I know that the board approved for us to go ahead and do it. You're looking at hiring a contractor, and I hate to say these numbers out because it's always a negotiable number when you start looking at it, but you're around $50,000 to pay somebody to put them in, and that includes all the materials. got around $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 worth of materials and putting them in. So you're looking at a $37,000, $38,000 cost
How many meters is it?
in labor for 18.
18.
Okay, that's running at $2,700 well, around 27, somewhere around that. Okay. So one of the ideas that we're thought about, and it takes time. Don't get me wrong; it's not something that's going to be put in today. The people living there probably don't want to see them, but we need to go ahead and put them in. Okay, because what it'll increase their monthly payment from $2,079, the minimum, based on the average $3,500, 3,500 gallons per month is the average usage. It creates a $26.74 future revenue for us above what we're getting right now. So that's an annual increase of about $5,800. Okay, so if we take the time and do it with the staff, and we can hire somebody to do it, it'll save us about between $35,000, $38,000 a year if they do it within their regular schedule. Now, there might be some incentives, pay a little bit of overtime or something to get them in quicker if we need to. You know, I'll do whatever the board wants, but financially, it'd be better for us to take the money, put in the meters, and do them ourselves. Okay, to try to cut some of that cost in the long
Do
term.
you have help to do it?
What's that?
Do you have help to do it?
Yeah, if I got the help to do it. And that's what it is. What we're going to have to do is once pick a day, we can send 2 people out there and we can try to mark them and spend a couple days doing some extra. And it's a good training for them too. Okay, if you get somebody that you can send out there, they can learn to operate. It's off of the road. It's a good way to teach somebody to dig. Okay, and
But now, we can't turn them on till we get them all in and start building them, because this neighbor's getting billed for this price, and this neighbor's getting billed for this price. We gotta get them all in before we
Yeah,
change the rate,
yeah,
or they'll be fighting among themselves.
yeah, exactly. Turn them all at one time
okay.
when you finish.
I didn't think of it that way. I thought you'd bill them and go.
Probably won't fly.
It won't be no different, will it?
But Dr. Tom lives up there, so he can deal with it totally.
Just for a few more days.
Whoever who else is gonna be there can deal with it.
We'll try to get a time scale and
I'll leave
and set
Joey's
some
name
stuff.
as a forwarding address and phone number.
And if that's something we have to do, that's fine. You know, it gives you, I guess I look at it as if it takes less, say it takes 6 months for us to put them in, and I'm not predicting, I just want to tell you 6 months, okay? You're at $3,000, $2,700 cost on top of, that's what you're losing in revenue, is what I'm gonna say. Okay?
But I
Not
do
really-
agree with Gary that I think you need
Yeah,
to set everybody at the same time. That way you don't have to
Yeah,
start
even
depending
though
on
if they get a
somebody
meter
paying
in there.
5,000 gallons.
We'll put them in there and then wait until we get the last one in to start billing at the normal
Then you
rate.
shoot the gun and say go.
Yeah. What will it take, Dana, most of the time? 2 or 3 a day? Can you do that many? Are most of them on the same side of the road?
They're spread out both on the side, one on each side. And one of the issues that we have is we don't have plans on it. So you're gonna have to find the first one and work from there. And that's gonna take some digging, so and you could probably set, if you had a good crew, if you had 3 or 4 people that you could send out to do it, you could probably do 2 or 3 a day, depending on what you run into. It shouldn't be, once you put the initial line in, it's just a 2-inch meter. It's a 2-inch line running out through there.
Right.
So just a matter of tying into it once you find it. The only, it's one of those things you got to plan. So chances are we're going to send 2 people out there. They'll probably get, depending on what goes on.
Right.
Problem with us is once we get started, you're going to have to do the one you're in. But
Oh, yeah.
these guys are fighting fires constantly. So, it's a catch-22 no matter what you do. But we'll do 1 or 2 a day until we get them done. Most likely, unless we might be able to get, you can possibly put 3 in there. By the time you dig them, cover them up, set them, whole 9 yards. and it means you're gonna have to contact them and call the Miss Utility in also. So you don't wanna go out there and cut the water off and put the meter in and without telling them before you knock on the door. You know, you wanna give them some, we're gonna start doing this and communication, some phone calls.
I think over the years, there've been a lot of line breaks up there, so you ought to be able to find the lines pretty easy from
Yeah.
past history.
That might be something you do as you go. It might be smarter. Okay, if you want, I can give a little bit more updates on the, I guess it's old business, but did some research on the gentleman that was here at the last meeting that had the iron in the water. I know that the board wanted us to look at that. You're looking at about, from the existing line to his property is about 6,600 feet. And from his property where it connects to the lower part is another 7,600 feet. You know, and it's like,
Where was this at? I missed the last
100.
meeting. On 100?
yes,
Okay.
there's tying in from regional onto the lower section.
It's below the Lewis property, you know where the Lewis.
Yeah.
And they have iron in the water. It might be something we can look at as father and some of the money is coming down. You're looking about 1.5 to do that. You know, it's expensive. From my understanding, when they were doing the regional water in there, RD didn't want to fund it. Didn't want to fund that section because it wouldn't affect enough people. There might be a way that we look at in the future, but it's one of those projects we need to keep looking at. It's just not something that you want to pull the debt to do.
What about where it's got iron in the water, any kind of health issues?
And that's what we're going to look at. I know that there's some money coming out. The infrastructure bill might have some money if you have some shovel ready. I had a conversation last week with a gentleman, and they were talking about the lead, the new lead limits that are coming out. They're going to want you to probably spend some money on it too.
Is that right before the truck stop? Dean?
It is.
Is that the truck stop?
Before he's talking about.
Because I've, through work, have dealt with those folks that live right there on the crest of the hill.
Yeah, the Lewis.
The Lewises, yeah. And they would love to have water too. They bought a fire truck, old fire truck to haul water back and forth up
Yeah,
there.
we sell them water.
Yeah. So,
But we'll continue to look at it and see if there's something we can do. I mean, it might be, it's just a tough situation.
There's apartments over at Mount Zion and, are they on the water system?
No,
I noticed they were drilling the well the other day.
we
yeah.
I mean, how far are they from water? Just down to the next road, Senior Road?
Mount
well, see,
Zion?
we don't have it on that end of Senior.
And it don't come all the way through on Mount Zion, does it?
About just a couple, not far up at all. Well, cut on the Hebron side, it's not very far,
Yeah.
maybe about 5 houses. They're just right in the middle on every side.
While you're on old business or ever what you own, that hydrant behind the firehouse, they ever tear it down, see what's wrong with it?
I don't think so.
Did Jeff meet you?
Just should have met with you and talked to you about that.
I did, and they're gonna take it apart and see why we ain't getting enough water to it. Darryl and Jeff both was there, I think.
Okay.
We'll have them look at it.
Don't look at it, just fix it.
How is things at exit 1?
We had the flow study came in. They haven't done a report yet on it. We're going to send in, this month, we send in our last report for Virginia Department of Health on our consent order. However, we're probably going to either try to meet with them in order to discuss the findings. It's probably going to take some construction. You're looking like it's what we expect, the flows. But until we actually get the report in, we're going to get the report, send it into the Department of Health, try to set up a meeting to explain what the issue is, and then try to find an engineer. We'll probably contact the same engineer that designed it to see about the flows. It appears that the flows are above what can go in. We're about 11 gallons per minute that it can accept over a 24-hour period. However, we're having some up and some downs. I'm hoping to get the Excel file that has the actual daily per minute, and then you can see better and stretch it out so you can see if there are certain times there are peaks. But it's going to take some construction to fix.
So it seems like maybe it wasn't built to handle the capacity, or is that what you're indicating, or?
From my understanding, and I'm not the expert on this, but when it's built for 20,000 gallons per day in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting half of that, and you're getting, let's say, 2/3 of it in a 12, 14-hour period. So it's not me, and the problem with it is the time in which you're reading it, it's not working. Okay, the plant's not working, so it might take lights. I have a feeling you're going to have a basin of some type put in order to catch the flows and then be able to meter it down slowly over time. I think, in my opinion, one of the worst problems is if you want any growth at that intersection, you're going to have to find a way to process more, because you can, right now we're only processing what we have. So if you was to add a hotel or something else, then you're going to have more issues. So it's a long term. There's going to be a shorter term fix, but there's going to need to be looked at in a long term problem.
Philip mentioned just a minute ago about somebody on the other side of 77 asking about water.
I haven't heard. You heard anything?
Now, Philip just has
Yeah.
said,
Richard Johnson.
he said, yeah, it might be something there's,
Yeah.
well, that's what he was saying. It's on the other side is where it
Yeah.
would come through at, so. It might be something to look into a little bit.
Where we at on the towns, hooking the town sewer? Did you get that line tested, or?
We received the ARV, and we had one of our staff is out. I contacted Hillsville and had a discussion with them. We're hoping the next couple of weeks we get the ARV in and be able to pressure test it. We're starting to look at trying to find an agreement. What we're going to do is I think they had some agreements. From my understanding, it's been going on for about a year, if I'm not mistaken. And that they're going to send me a draft and see if we can start working on an agreement for it. It's a matter of putting the ARV in, pressure testing, and then coming to some type of agreement on the cost. Our plan is to install a meter and use a meter as a way of determining flows. It's most accurate. It's most fair for both sides. So we're still working on it.
Any updates on the two grants, the grants that are out there?
We did receive both grants for the search grant. That's for the Cranberry Woodlawn area. We received 20 from the PDC and 30 from Rural Development. So since we received both those, we'll start having a contract with an engineer to begin the process also. So hopefully we can get that started as soon as the holidays are over. At least start the beginning of it. And that was no matching money. That was 100% funded by grants at this time. I'm going to throw that in there because there's always cost.
You lost me somewhere. What are we using that for?
Friend, for sewer, for, check for inflows.
Okay.
We suspect there is some through that area, and hopefully this is a way to identify and give us an idea where we need to work, where we can cut down the amount of water that's getting into the sewer system that we're paying to treat.
Okay.
So they'll do spoke testing and some updating to the mapping, I believe. So.
If that's all you have, Mike, we'll go on to authority members' time.
Sounds good.
Start with you, Mr. Jessup.
I believe I'm good. I appreciate what everybody does. But I'm pretty well got all my questions answered, I think.
Good deal then. Mr. Hill,
I'm good. Looks like everything's going well.
Mr.
Actually making improvements.
Mr. Moore,
I got two things. One, I want to thank Dr. Litcham Phillip for their service to the board and PSA, and I'm sure you'll hear it again after a bit, but I know what a difference. I actually worked for the county when you was on the board, so you've been there a long time. Seems like forever ago to me, but I do appreciate that. And I was asked today to let everybody know that the Carroll County Middle School FFA is doing a new blanket drive for the victims in Kentucky, and they're going to receive new blankets up until Friday, I think. So,
Okay.
Just anybody has it upon their heart to help out, that'd be good. That's all.
Mr. McCraw,
I'd like to thank everybody on the board. They've been great to work with, and I think we've tried to be reasonable for the things for the county and the boys out there working in the field. I want to thank them. I know when you got a water leak, you got mud. When you got a sewer pump to go out, you got a problem. And they've got a job. Staff keeping up with the building and all of that. I know they have their hands full, and I appreciate the job they do. So with that said, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Dr. Tom,
Well, it's with mixed emotions that I realize this is my last meeting for the last 14 years, and I've enjoyed working with all the folks that I have had a chance to work with on the staff as well as on the authority. And I wish you the best. I think we have done some good things in the past, and I know you will in the future. And so just get those lines on the ground and get those folks happy. And wish everybody a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas, and see you around.
I'd like to thank everybody too. I mean, I think we've got a great board that's worked well together, and we've made and accomplished a lot. And a lot of that stuff, actually, Tom, you've helped guide direct, whether you realize it or not. So I do want to thank you for your service and for all that you've done for the PSA and Phil. I feel the same way. You've been a really asset to this board, and you've given us a lot of feedback, and I appreciate that. And that being said, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you all in the new year. This meeting's now adjourned.